I've clicked record. Okay, cool. So it's now recording. All right. So so today, like I mentioned, anyway, this meeting I've limited it. It's not a public meeting. It's a limited one. We've done it by invitation only, because we wanted to at least have a discussion that is very civil, with people, and hear from various parties what they think this way and the other. But I will keep the same set of rules that we've always had for these town hall meetings. We'll try and stay non-partisan as much as possible. Each of us have our own political leanings, but at least let's stay non-partisan as much as possible, please. I will be respectful to the opinion of other people. Orderly contribution. If you're not contributing, please mute your phone. We have some pre-selected topics which we will ask the questions about when we go into the Q&A session or into the panel discussion session. I will try and limit the discussion to about 5 minutes per question so that we can take as much questions as possible. And then we will have a general Q&A at the end. Like I said, after 40 minutes, we will log out and then we will come back to start the Q&A session. So after each of the sessions, I will stop and then we will re-log in to start the second session. All right. So today, I've already covered this. What are the lessons learned from this election? I think this is number one thing. Number two thing, what are the analysis? What does the election result actually tell us? And then in session 3, we will go to the discussion panels. And then in number 4, we will go to the Q&A session. Okay, so for me, what are the main lessons that I took away from this election? Number one is that it's not business as usual. I saw a WhatsApp or a text after the election that says, President Buhari lost Katsina, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu lost Lagos. You could say Malam El-Rufai lost in Kaduna, Ganduje lost in Kano, Akpabio lost in Akwa Ibom. So many of the people that we consider to be heavyweights lost in their states. And it tells us that it's something that doesn't look, that is not business as usual in Nigerian politics. It's something, and for me, I think that's a positive, because what it does is that it puts our politicians on their toes. They know that they need to now deliver for them to consistently lead us. So this is, for me, is positive number one. Number two, I was very impressed with the number of areas where they will say somebody came to steal the beavers in a polling station, but INEC had a backup. So I was following the election itself, and there were many places in the first 1 or 2 hours, they said, oh, thugs came in. They stole the beavers, terminal, but INEC came prepared enough that they had the second beavers terminal. So they would just allow the talk to go away with the first one and just switch to the second one. I think it was a lot of foresight, and that was a good thing. I think number 3, the thing that also impressed me was that for the first time, I didn't know whether people, I guess people have been doing this before, but it was the first time I saw in a Nigerian election where people made very good use of the situation room. Please, if you remember, please, if you're not speaking, please just help us to mute for now. Yeah. Yeah. So the use of situation rooms was really good. I was able to, at least I saw the situation room for the APC. I saw that I think it was led by Raji Fashola. But the PDP had their own situation room, Labour Party had their own situation room. And by the Sunday, the following morning, most of these parties already knew the election result. It was very good. It just shows how much we have progressed. The use of situation rooms was very good. It was a very good thing I thought came out of this election. Another thing that I thought came out of this election was that at least 7 sitting governors contested and lost. In fact, I think 9 governors contested to become senators, and 7 of them lost. Because it had become a trend in Nigerian politics where people will be governor, they will do governor for 8 years, and then will go and sit in the Senate in perpetuity. It was a very good thing that many of them contested these elections, and people said, no, we are not sure you've done such a great job as governor. we're not going to send you in as senator. I thought, at least for me, I thought that was a brilliant thing because it also shows that maybe the election, but we'll come to that, may not be as bad as people think it was, but it was a good thing. 7 out of 9 governors who contested for Senate lost. Now, put in perspective that in every state, the Senate is only 1/3. There are 3 senators in a state, and that's only 1/3. A governor who won 100% or won majority in a previous election is now unable to deliver 1/3. And I think that's a good thing. All right. Now, the other thing then is that where were the areas of improvement? I think communication. There's a lot that's been said after this election about, oh, the election had irregularities, it was not fair, this, that, and the other, because the beavers and high rev was not uploaded immediately. I think there's a major area of improvement there. I mean, there are reasons for it. I can relate to what the issues are, but the communication has been very bad. Because for people to have this high level of expectation, what it meant was that either you have given them that expectation, or we had not or INEC had not communicated properly before the meeting, before the election, on what they were going to do with these beavers. Nonetheless, irrespective of what the case is, there's a gap between what INEC wanted to do or planned to do and the expectation of the people. And there's a major area of improvement there in terms of uploading the beavers and the high rev. Thuggery and violence. I think at last count, at least there have been incidents in Kogi, significant incidents in Kogi. I think about 47 polling units will need to be rerun in Kogi. In Edo, there were some issues in Edo. In Abia, somebody was shot dead. He came to the polling station and stole the ballot box, and the soldiers around the area, it was unlucky. There were some soldiers there, and the soldiers shot him dead. In Lagos, there was at least violence at Obelegusi, at Elegusi's area. So that was reported. And subsequent, after the election result there was some violence. Thankfully, all the politicians were able to come down together and say, please don't try this. So, but there was some violence in Lagos as well. And in Kano, it was really bad in that it was said that, I think it was the MPP secretariat was burnt and 2 people or so were killed. In fact, the majority leader of the Senate has been arrested because he was supposed to be part of this problem in Kano. So there was some problem in Kano as well. And I think ultimately we need to come to a place where we do elections and we accept whether we lose or not. We need to accept that we cannot win all the time. So it's an area of improvement for the society rather than for INEC in this case. The other thing that I saw that I think was not very good was that there was a lot of ethnic and religious coloration to the election, which is a very dangerous trend. And I think we'll talk more about this when we go into the panel discussion. Lastly, there was the very high level of invalidated votes. I think we had about 900,000, almost a million votes were invalidated. If you think about it, that only 25 million people were accredited, that's 4%. 4% is a high number in this election for invalidated vote. So there has to be a little more training for people in terms of how to thumb print or how to check or something so that we don't have this high level of invalidated vote. So those were the things that I picked up from these elections. I'm sure many of you have other areas where you think there were areas that we could have improved in. I will take 1 or 2. If there are people who want to contribute 1 or 2 in this area where you think that there were areas that we could have improved. Yes, Demola, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Kule, for that high-level summary. I would have thought in the area of thuggery and violence, Rivers should be number 1 on that list. Rivers State. I think significant issues around the Rivers election. And the other thing I also would think areas of improvement is also voter turnout.
Yes, we will come to that one. It's a major mess, actually. Yes,
exactly. The voter turnout should also be included so that we can have some,
So better. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, I've noted that. Is Tosi on this call? If you could help me just take some of this as we go up. Dr. Yakubu, please go ahead.
Okay. Did I mention that I was going to speak?
Yeah. Oh no. I think your hand was okay. No, it's not you actually. It's Mr.
not me
Austin.
actually. It's Austin.
Yes, it's Austin.
Yeah, but
Austin,
since you've asked
ahead.
me, let me just quickly say that the
Okay.
person arrested in the National Assembly is actually the majority leader of the House of Representatives.
Ah, it's not the Senate, it's the House of Reps.
It's not in the Senate.
Okay, fantastic.
But that's just what I want to say for now.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc. Austin, please go ahead. Mr. Austin, please go ahead.
Hi, I've just got one area. I don't know if you can see me, and I do apologize. Just come in.
No problem.
One area of improvement for me will be on security. So security at the PUs. So that was quite important. So it's something we need to improve on. It gives voters confidence. I know we'll go into that detail later on. Like you said.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Deoju, your hands up. Please go up.
I think a significant positive that we're missing out on is the performance of essentially a third force. It had always been a two-party system. We had a third force show up and come a very close third. It could very well have been second or won the election. So that for me was a major positive. It would encourage a lot more participation, in my opinion.
In future. I think I tried to cover that as part of this, not business as usual, but maybe I didn't frame it properly. But you're absolutely, I can't talk enough about that. I agree with you 100% on that. So the notes I've taken from here: security is an issue, Togri, something to be said about rivers and things like that, and then the third force to be added to the proceeding. All right, thank you, everybody.
And the voter turnout.
Sorry, sir.
Voter turnout.
And the voter turnout. Okay. All right. Muyiwa, please, if you could help me. I don't think Tosin is on the call yet. Just help me to record.
Yeah, I'm taking the minutes. I'm taking the minutes.
All right. Thank you. All right. So let's go to the next. Let's go to the next slide then. And in this slide, we will now go to the analysis itself and talk about what we have seen. So in the analysis of the result, if you were to look at the result themselves, the result will show you that each of the candidates, the top 3 candidates, won 12 states. That's how evenly spread it looks. You know, each of the 3 candidates won 12 states each, and the NNP candidate who came fourth, Alhaji Rabiu Kakanso, won 1 state. Okay, APC won 8.8 million votes. PDP won 7 million votes, about 7 million votes. Labour Party won 6.1 million votes, and NMPP won about 1.5 million votes. That's the breakdown of how the vote was distributed. In terms of what those top 4 guys won, I think they won about 97 to 98% of the total votes, and you will see that in the subsequent slide. The other thing to look out for is to then look at the spread. Just keep this in mind as we go to the subsequent slides, because you will see all the states that you see in blue are the states won by the APC. The red are the states won by the PDP. The orangish, yellowish color are the states won by Labour Party, and the light blue is the one won by the NNP. And you will see a little more analysis of this as we go into subsequent slides. Okay, so first things first, let's take it one by one. 92.6 million registered voters, 96.2 million. But out of that, only 25.2 were accredited, which is a voting percentage of about 27%. Muyiwa just mentioned about the fact that the voter turnout was very low. Yes, that is a very low voter turnout. And I hope that when we go to the discussion panels, our discussions can shed light on that. 27% is very low. Typically in an election, you will expect between 30 and 40%, typical. Yeah, in any federal election like this, you expect between 30 and 40%, or in fact, closer to the 40% mark. In the last election, I think we had about 34%, which was still more reflective. So we're almost 8% less or 7% less voted in this election cycle. So there must be a reason for that, and I hope we can get to the bottom of it. Of the 25.2 million people that voted, that were accredited, 24.9 actually voted. So there were people who got accredited and went home and never came back. Another 300,000. We lost another 300,000 there, either because they went back home, they can't be bothered, or it got too late in their own area before they had a turn to vote. 24.9 and 300,000 people did not show up to do the actual voting. After they voted, another 940,000 people had their votes rejected. That's 4% of the vote cast. So another almost 1 million people, again, had rejected votes, such that we were left with only 24 million people at the end of the day. And out of those 24 million people, 23.3 voted for the 4 leading candidates. Like I mentioned, those 4 leading candidates took about 98% of the total vote cast, which confirms again to us, the fact that what we've always said, there are 4 leading candidates. The election is going to be between those 4. Maybe, I don't know how you see that, but when we go to the Q&A, maybe there will be some lights that will be shed on that. So 97% of the votes went to the top 4. What are the top 5 voting states? The top 5 voting states are Kano, 1.7 million or thereabout, Kaduna 1.3, Lagos 1.2, Katsina about 1 million, and Plateau 1 million. So these are the top 5 voting states in this election cycle. Yeah, and of these top 5 states, the surprising thing is that the winner did not win any of the top 5. Yeah, so there's quite a lot to see when you begin to delve down into the analysis of this election. Okay, another thing that is worth pointing out is that if you then break down the votes by the zones, so we've broken it down into the 6 geopolitical zones: Southeast, South, South, Southwest, Northeast, North Central, Northwest, and the number of states in each of the area. What you will see though is that the Northwest has the highest number of votes at 28%, North Central has 21%, and then the Southwest has 17.6%. So in terms of the geopolitical zones, the Northwest, North Central, and Southwest are the highest, that's the highest area where the votes were cast, yeah, in the election cycle. And the interesting thing is that although the winning party did not win any of the top 5 states, they won at the zonal level in those 3 industries. So the Northwest, North Central, and Southwest were all won by the winning party. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Let's see some more details here. Now, here I've titled this slide, "A Lesson from Our History as a Country." Yeah. So if you remember, at independence, we were in northern region, a western region, and an eastern region. There were 3 regions. The western region then got split into West and Midwest. Okay, so for the purposes of this analysis, I've just considered the 3 regions at the start. If you were to split the vote in this election cycle by those 3 regions, this is what it would look like. The northern region, the old northern region, would take 59%. The Midwest and the West will take 23%, and the Southeast, South will take 18%. I will tell you why this is important. I've then looked at the history of Nigerian elections from 1959, every year when we have had a federal election, from 1959, 64, 79, 83, 92, 99. In each case, the winning party, whether it's MPCN, MPN, SDP, PDP, APC, whoever wins an election in Nigeria must take the majority in at least 2 of these zones for them to be able to win the election. So you can see in 1959, the federal elections, it was an MPCN NNC, and they won the North and the East. So they took the North and the East in the First Republic, Second Republic. The only exception, there are 2 exceptions here. First exception is 1992, where SDP won all the 3 regions. That election was ultimately cancelled with the June 12th. So this is the June 12th election, where one party led in all 3 regions. And then we had the election that brought in the full term of President Jonathan, where he lost in the north, but won fully all the states of the south, of the west and the east, except Osun State. Yeah. So that's in each election cycle, the winning party has always won at least 2 out of 3 of the old region split. Okay. So now let's see what that means for us. So then if you were to go then and look at this election now and split it by regions or by geopolitical zones, if we were to split it into the old AP's northern region, eastern region, western region, this is what it will look like. The APC will have taken the old northern region and will have taken the old western region. The Labour Party will have taken the old eastern region. If you were to split, so that's the region. This is the breakdown of what it looks like in the region. There are 3 regions, if you remember. If you ignore the regions and split it down by the geopolitical zones, so there are 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. And if you look at the 6 geopolitical zones, the APC will have won the Northwest, okay? Will have won the Northwest, won the North Central and the Southwest. The PDP will have won the Northeast. The Labour Party will have won the Southeast and the South-South. The interesting thing though, is that, so how does this work? Northeast is where PDP has won, is where the candidacy of that party comes from, of the PDP. Southwest is where the APC candidate comes from. Southeast is where the leader of the Labour Party comes from. In summary, what you should take away from this slide is that the APC won in 2 regions and 3 geopolitical zones, which is consistent with Nigeria's political history. And the winning party in this election cycle, again, if you look at, it's only that they've won in 2 regions and 3 geopolitical zones. They were also competitive in 5 out of 6 zones. So you can see this zone here, they won this one, they were competitive here, they won this, and then they won this one, and they were competitive here. They were not competitive in the Southeast. Yeah. So that's what it will show you. Okay, then let's break it down further. Let's go to the number of states. Like we mentioned earlier, all the parties won an equivalent 12 states, with the NMP taking 1 more state. Okay, and when you go to the issue of winning the electoral college, our electoral college means that because we're very, please, if you're not speaking, just help us. If you're not speaking, can you mute, please? Thank you. All right. So, oops, okay. And in terms of the electoral college, the electoral college system in Nigeria says that you must win at least 25% of the vote in every state in 2/3 of the number of states of the federation. So 2/3 of our states is 24 states. And to win 25%, you can see the APC here wins 25%, minimum 25% in 29 states. The PDP wins 25% in 21 states. And the Labour Party wins 25% in 17 states. NMP win 25% only in Kano, where they have returned a maximum of 60%. Mr. Austin, I see your hand. Just give me 1 second and then we'll take the question. Okay, Mr. Austin, go ahead. Thank you.
So for the college vote, I thought, can you hear me properly? I've switched to my headset.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. So I thought the college votes must include the FCT.
No.
Is that correct?
No, it's been clarified subsequently by several legal guys that the FCT is not included. And the reason is because the FCT itself is not considered as a state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Femi Falana came out about 3 days ago to clarify that. And subsequent to that, somebody else has also come out. Another leading lawyer has come out to clarify that that the FCT is not considered because it's not a full state. It's not considered a state, which is not dissimilar. Part of our problem is we copy a lot from the US. So it's very similar to the US, where in the US, Washington itself is not considered a state. There's a Washington state, but it's different from Washington, DC. Washington, DC is not considered a state. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So Yeah. So this is a summary of where we are with the analysis. Are there any other questions? Are there any questions how we have gone on the zones, the regions? Because if there are no other questions, what I will do is I will end this session for now, and then we will relog in to start the panel discussion. Mr. Demola, please go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly, I think to add to that response you gave to, I think that was Mr. Austin, right?
Yes, it's Mr. Austin, yes.
Declared by INEC, I don't think it's just about the opinions of the legal guys. I think as declared by INEC, the FCT was considered part of the 37. They did not, announce it as 25% of FCT as a must.
Yeah, I think where the confusion started, in fact, to be honest, there were people that were even saying that unless you won FCT, you cannot win the election. It got that confusing at some point, but I think they've been able to resolve that. But like you will see from the analysis anyway, in terms of the electoral college vote, only the APC or PDP could have won in the first round because they were the only ones who met that criteria. There are two hands up. Please just give me a second. I'm struggling to pick everybody. Austin, your hand is still up, and there's a second person's hand is up. I don't know.
Yeah, I just raised my hand. Okay. I just wanted to ask, so before we move to the panel discussion, you said we need to log off and log in. Is there a separate link or is it the same link?
It's the same link. It's just that I have a maximum of 40 minutes. Unfortunately, I didn't I didn't set up my professional Zoom properly. So
okay.
It's just for that reason.
We'll just rejoin
to do that.
Okay,
yes.
then. All
right. Doc, your hand is up. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, Kunle, sorry. From the bar chart, it doesn't seem as if PDP made up to, and from the data I have also, doesn't seem as if PDP made that, requirement.
Actually, you're right. They only made 21. Yeah, they didn't make 24.
Yes.
They made 21. Yeah,
I don't know, yeah.
No, you're right, you're right. They made 21 states. They didn't make the 24.
Yeah, 21 states from what I've seen. Yeah.
Yes, they made 21 states. Oh, that's interesting, actually. Okay. Very good catch, Doc. You're right. Okay, yes, Adiola, please go ahead. Mr. Adiola, please go ahead.
Okay, so in terms of the conversation around FCT, because if you look at the constitution, the electoral law and all of that, where it talks about 2/3 of 25% in 2/3 of states and the FCT, because I think it's because it says and FCT.
It says and the
FCT is separate. And it says and FCT. And so for the purpose of election, because the FCT is not a state, when it says of the 36 states, it kind of leaves out, it makes the results of the FCT redundant if it has no value. So it then adds the FCT to be added to the 36 to make 37.
To make 37.
So 36 states, but it cannot say 37 states because the FCT is not a state. So it says 36 states and the FCT. You're required to return 25% in 2/3 of 37.
So it's a 2/3 of 37.
Yes.
But this is another area where we don't learn from our history, isn't it? Because then this takes us back to the problem we had in the Second Republic, where we had 19 states and you had to define what 2/3 of 19 states was.
No, exactly.
So we didn't learn from history. That's
why people are arguing that the FCT stands, and for me, it makes no sense because the FCT is closer to one region than it is to some other regions. So some people naturally have advantage when we are playing regional politics. So why would you say unless? But again, I will leave that for your panel and
for the panel to throw some light on that. Okay, this is fantastic. Good discussion there. Okay, so gentlemen, I think I've just about run out of this session. But thank you very much for this first session. I'm going to ask everybody to try to log out, and then we will go to the panel discussion in a minute. Thank you. Okay.